Ahoy hoy. I know, I'm like 5 seconds late, right? And I'll tell you why I'm about 5 seconds late. I had to get my coffee. I'll be absolutely brutally honest with you. I had to get my coffee. I just couldn't do it. Now, you've noticed the more perspicacious amongst you. I love that word. The more perspicacious. I just screwed that up. Okay, you will notice the more observant amongst you all over the world that, well, Deck is me. I never knew which one was Ant and which one was Deck for years. Oh, that's really nice. Thank you very much. That's very sweet, Facebook user. That's so sweet. You froze. Am I all right now? Is that better? Is that okay, gang? Is that working all right? There we go. Well, I hope I haven't frozen now. Anyway, yes, my little sidekick is not available today. My little sidekick is working his way up the greasy pole at a rather large radio station. And quite frankly, well, that's it. He's on to huge things. He probably won't want to know us. In about a week, that'll be it. So it's just me. Coming up will be here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. This man has the most terrifying life outside of the Ukraine, which I want to talk about with you, obviously. Paul Claridge from East Croydon. And then we've got Flash himself, Barry J. Allen. Hello. Hello to Diane Taylor. Hi to you. Oh, my God. Listen to this. Sen Monroe. Oh God, this is a whole new thing. I've been banned on Facebook for reasons I know not. Wowza. Send, man, what's going on? God, that's rough. A lot of people are getting banned. You got to chase the algorithms. This is the problem with Facebook. It's not somebody sitting there. I think the great myth is that someone sits there and says, Sen Monroe. Oh, I didn't like that word. It's algorithms and whatever. So you've got to kind of hide them. Not put in these and there's all sorts of little things. We could talk about it another time. Yeah. Where's your boy? Where is your boy, Linda Dave? Good afternoon, Russ. And I don't know what those emojis mean. I don't know what it is. Paul Andrews, Little Sen featured in too many posts. What? What, Sen? How are you showing everybody pictures of your kebab? What's that it? All right. Thank you. I really want you to join in today. I really, really, really do. We've got now the American contingent coming. I love this. We had coffee on what was it? Sunday morning. It was very pleasant. Elizabeth Green, good morning from New York, and good morning to you. And now from New York, we go to New York State. Okay. And it's good day, gentlemen. Yeehaw! And that's really very nice. Oh, right. I'm just waving at you. I swear to God, I'm going to go to Tesco's. Get my eyes checked. That's where I go. I go to Tesco's, got like the Vision Express and everything there. I'll go there. It's a bit embarrassing, to be honest with you, when you're in the dairy aisle and there's people pushing past with the trolleys and you go, A, Z, but no, could you try again? Right, let's see what Richard Todd has to say here. I'm disappearing. Thank God for that. You may or may not recall that last summer I mentioned about my wife and her. I haven't read this, so God knows where we're going with this. And her volunteer role that she was constantly receiving harassment and intimidation over. God Almighty. I even had a visit from the police as I stood up for her. Good for you. They did nothing about her ongoing harassment, yet one complaint about me, and they were knocking on my door within hours. Oh, Richard, don't get me started on that. This has led to a year of pure hell for her. People making up their own minds and spreading nasty, vicious lies on social media about her and the role she was volunteer, and that's all I've got, Richard. I'm so sorry. It's all I've got here, so I can't read anymore. Oh my God, look at this. We've gone from Manhattan, where Elizabeth Green is. Hang on, wait a minute. I want to show you something. Look. Let me show you something. Here's Elizabeth's book. She gave it to me. It said, "A memoir by Elizabeth Green. What does it say? The black sheep in the billionaire's family. Why was she not in the script?" So here's her book. Elizabeth Green. Every time she tells me a story, it actually gets worse. Good morning from Kentucky. Blimey. Well, the bluegrass of Kentucky. No, Mary G. Williams. I think it's Mary J. Blige when it comes up. Kentucky. Never been to Kentucky. Sounds nice. And then we got that. And she's going, yeah, because I've just plugged the book. Full details are in the chat. In the chat. What is that? Okay. I need to speak. I need to speak about that. I want to know what's going on. Now we've got Azadon Brown. Make trip to New York, and I will have you scheduled with my wife. My wife is an optometrist, and she works with an ophthalmologist. I'm just going to get my dictionary and try and work out what Azadon Brown has just said. I think it's got to do with eyes. I could be wrong. Know what I mean? I look at Simpsons today. Look at this. I look completely yellow. Maybe I'm jaundiced. And from Kentucky, we go to Ramsey. Not been to Kentucky, but I visited a few KFCs in my time. Thank you. Now, what did Sen do? Because we're all a little family here. So let's just see what Sen actually did. They said they'd get back to me within a day. Oh, no, that's never going to happen. Sen, mate, I can tell you. You can speak to me after the show if you like. Yeah, that'll never happen. I got banned. I got restricted. I didn't get banned. I got restricted, which buggered up, quite frankly, the way that we can broadcast the shows. And I made a joke about somebody parking. I really do look completely jaundiced today. This is weird, isn't it? There we go. Right, here we go. Let's see what Sen, that naughty Cypriot, did. I put up a post saying troubling times. You think? I want to talk to you guys about that. And then boom, totally banned. What? And the account disabled? No, Sen, I think you've been hacked, mate. I don't think that's Facebook. Totally banned and the account disabled. I can't do anything. Can't contact Facebook other than via email. Nothing. What did you? Don't use any bad language. But that's a nice picture of you in a suit. You're on your way to court. No. God, I don't even know if I own a tie anymore. To be honest with you. What did you say? I want to talk about it. I really want to talk about it. What else we got? Here we go. This is about let's talk about these restrictions on Facebook. Ramsey says, I had a Facebook restriction for if you're listening on Deluxe Radio, all 67,000 of you, I'm really sorry. I know you can't see why I'm laughing. All right, Ramsey says this. God, I had a Facebook restriction for posting a funny meme which had a picture of Fred West. Apparently, it contravened their community standards. There's nothing funny about Fred West, but when you see the absolute filth and complete crap that gets up on some of the social media, the absolute hatred, the racism. He posts a picture of Fred West and he gets banned. For God's sake, shut up. Richard Todd. I loved you in 633 Squadron. Good grief, I now feel very odd. Just seen that one of Boyzone has become a granddad. Yeah, one day I'm going to do a whole thing about grandparents, because can we move on? From David Wimble? I've sent you a link if you want to come on, by the way. I've sent you a link on email. Here's the thing, right? It's not Clive Dunn dressed up going, "Granddad, we love you." And it looks like Joe Biden, like he doesn't know what the hell's going on. No, it's you can be young And the great thing is, I think, with our generation, is that the kids don't get on with your kids because they're because it's their parents. But when you turn up and you're Johnny Cool, you, they get on. It's great. I love it. I love it. Afternoon to you. We're going up there to Edinburgh. Good afternoon to you, Veronica. Current record numbers of you on the show today. Thank you so much. Blessing you all. I don't get nervous. I don't get nervous because I love broadcasting and I love sharing like an hour with you guys. It's like family, right? And I did get very nervous today. I got because there's stuff I want to talk about and it makes me quite emotional. Lovely Ukrainian girl got herself banned from the the BBC earlier when she said something. God, and she said something, and then she said, or as you say in English, blank you Putin begins with F, rhymes with duck. Precisely. What's this? And it says, Paul, I saw that Dan Walker almost fell off his sofa. Crazy times. It's crazy times. I want to talk about that in a sec. I said something was vile or something, and I was told it was hate speech. Yeah, because Elizabeth, you had an opinion. You had an opinion that went against their algorithms. You had an opinion that didn't push a propaganda point. See what I'm saying? We're allowed to say something is vile. You can say something is vile. Bad news, everybody. If you thought the show was dull now, wait. Now this is, I'm going to introduce, hang on. Oh my God. Sen, well, let's be up. We'll have a chat after the show. I can't look up WhatsApp right now. All of my memories, all of my pictures of my family, my deceased parents, friends, 5,000 contacts, my work snuffed. That's not Facebook. That's not Facebook. That's a hack. That has got to be a hack. David, I'll be with you in a sec. Oh man. That is awful. That absolutely thick. Well, it's got to be somewhere. It hasn't gone. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's got to be, it's got to be somewhere. Sin, that's horrible. This is the problem when everything is digital. I don't know about you guys, but when everything is digital, right, and something happens and it all goes skew with, my mum's old phrase, skew with, yeah, you lose everything. If it's all printed out, you got it. But no one prints all this stuff out. No one has photos anymore. Do you have photos around? I've got photos. Do you ever print photos out from the web or whatever? Probably not. Sen, let's have a chat. I'm so sorry, fella. I really am. Right. Ramsey says the social media companies have a lot to do to help their users, as deleting your access seriously impacts mental health. Oh, yeah, totally. Oh my God. Very old school, says Elizabeth. Just she's got pictures everywhere. And she says, I like things on paper, me. Yeah, you got to back. I mean, geez, you got to back everything up. And then Paul says, I highly recommend everyone uses the download your information option on Facebook every 6 months. What is that? Paul, tell us more about that. We want to know. I seriously recommend everyone uses the download your information option on Facebook every 6 months. And then from New York State, this is why we're a family, because you guys have never met, don't know each other. Sen, I'm sincerely sorry to learn of your Facebook troubles. I'll tell you what's what. Sen's case is particular. David, I'll be with you in a sec. Sen's case is horrible because now he's lost blooming everything. But we realize, especially over the last 2 years of this sodding nightmare, how much of our lives are digital. And we think, and I'm the worst for this. I'm the worst. We think that we're meeting people and we're seeing people, and we're not. I'm practically a recluse. I know it sounds weird. Everyone thinks I'm out all the time. I'm not. I'm almost a recluse. This is very, very good. It dumps your entire Facebook stuff onto your PC. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look at that. So many people trust that Facebook, says Paul, we'll hold one-off photos and stuff. We have no idea what will happen in the future. Imagine if Facebook got sold and introduced a big fee. Imagine if the Chinese or Russians hacked into Facebook and destroyed it. Think about that, gang. Hello, Phil has deserted you. No, Phil is getting very, very. Oh, hang on, that's weird. Oh, you're screwed. That's horrible. No, Phil hasn't deserted me. But we will be seeing possibly in the future. It doesn't matter. There's big changes coming up for Phil, and although he and I muck around because we've known each other for forever, he is highly sought after and highly considered in the radio world. He's a brilliant producer. My Instagram page has gone too. Whoa. Right, there's only really one subject. Oh, by the way, I want to say something before I introduce David Wimble. I know loads of you are watching because you want to see Anne Hegarty. Anne sent me a lovely personal message this morning on Twitter. Personal message, not a general message, private message. I have got to, for contractual reason, I'm being very transparent with you all. I'm being really open in case you think, why aren't you asking this? What's the matter with you? Well, we know you're a moron, Russell, but why aren't you asking this? Why aren't you asking that? Contractually, I am not allowed to. Wait till you hear. All right. In case you're thinking, Russ, why aren't you asking Anne about this? I'm not allowed to mention the word the chase. I'm not allowed to say that she's a chaser. I'm not allowed to say that she's, the nickname is the governess. I can't refer to anything that we all know Anne Hegarty for. And it's not Anne's fault. It's nothing to do with Anne. I just want to make that really, really clear. It is not Anne, but Anne is a charming, charming person and a really interesting person and a multifaceted person. It's nothing to do with her. It's the production company and ITV that make The Chase. Now, call me crazy. If I was David Wimble and I was promoting Deluxe Radio, if it was me, and I'm having a chat with him in a second about Ukraine, you'd talk about it. It's free publicity. If I get Anne on and all of you go, oh, we love you on The Chase and everything, free publicity. No, we can't talk about it. So in case you think I've taken a stupid pill, even more stupid pills than I normally take every day, then there we go. Right, let's add David Wimble, who's looking strangely relaxed, which is a little worrying.
Well, I don't know about relaxed.
David, how are you, fella?
I'm very well, thank you, Russ. Yeah, perhaps you should have got Duncan Norville on. He could have asked you to chase him, and you could have had lots of plays on words about that. But what you just said there
would be record numbers, by the way, watching and listening to the show today. Absolutely going through the roof. Bless you.
It just seems mad, though, doesn't it? That it's not like you're getting her on to slate the program. You're finding out. I mean, she's a very interesting person because she suffers from autism, and she's just. I saw her once being interviewed, one of those in question things that they do, and I didn't know anything about her, but she is such an interesting lady. So that was the reason I tuned in originally today.
Well, she'll be on. I mean, she's coming on. So anyway, you asked to. You just sent me a little note, and I said, "Of course." What's going on, man? What's happening?
Basically, I spent several years, well, many years, working on cruise ships, as you know, and some of the crew that I know on the cruise ships came from Ukraine. And I do my breakfast show on Deluxe Radio, and we do.
Was that Deluxe Radio? David?
That'll be Deluxe Radio, yes.
Okay. Is that DELUX?
That's the one. Okay. Radio.co.uk.
See, that's how you do PR.
Exactly.
That's how you do it, right?
Well, anyway, we get listeners from all around the world. For some reason, we're very big in the Baltic states. And a friend of mine who I've not seen for probably 7 years, who was a purser on board one of the ships, was in Ukraine. And she sent a message because I just said something on the radio. I think it was on Monday. And she said, thank you for your support. So I sent her a message back. And she's in the second biggest city in Ukraine, which, to cut a long story short, has been obliterated overnight. She's been speaking to me every day. The photos she's been sending me are horrendous. And I just thought, there's got to be something we can do here.
Yeah.
So where I live down in Kent, Saga, which is the company that she worked for on board one of their lovely ships, another bit of plug in there, brand endorsement. I contacted their corporate, they've got, I don't know what it's called now, something like the Corporate Responsibility Unit.
It'd be corporate social responsibility. It used
That's
to be
the
called
one.
CSR, corporate social responsibility, which is.
And they've got a long history because they have lots of people like Filipinos on board, for example. And when they've had natural disasters, floods and hurricanes, they've always been a very responsible company and sent over lots of aid and helped rebuild villages even. And so I just contacted them. I'm also on the district council as a cabinet member. So I've contacted our chief executive and things like that and said, surely there is something we can do. Because Saga are one of the biggest employees in Kent, where we are. Thousands of people work for them. And these Ukrainians work for Saga. So I feel that, they're part of our family, as it were. It looks like we're going to be setting up some community hub pickup points, which is where, when we had the whole COVID thing, we set these up to get help.
Excellent.
And basically, I'm putting out the appeals, certainly in our district, but for other people to do the same thing, to work alongside the International Red Cross, who have got corridors, safe passages in and out of Ukraine, to get anything that you can donate, whether it be clothing, because let's be honest, it goes to about -7 at the moment in Ukraine in the evenings. And seeing the pictures on TV, I made some comments on your show the other day, and you said, "God, David, you're a bit off today." I've actually,
I did. I think I called you grumpy.
I was grumpy.
Which coming. Well, no, I just thought you were. I did. Well, I've known you for a while, and we chit chat and everything. We've actually met in like real grown up life, and it didn't seem like you.
Well, even today, Sarah's in the other office next door. She came in. I told her what I was been up to, and I had a little cry, if I'm honest, because seeing the pictures, and when it's somebody that you've worked alongside, you've been really happy.
Can I jump in there? And I was in two minds, everybody, whether I was going to do this or not. I started to watch the news yesterday, and I burst into tears. I never do that. I was absolutely choked up. And I know the world's full of disasters and terrible things, but I just couldn't stand this. Because this is 1,500 miles. It's like a 2-hour flight from where David is, from where we are. It's just, and I got into this terrible state. Now, it's not about, I want to make something very clear. It's not about me. I don't care about me. I felt so frustrated and so impotent and so angry. And I just started tearing up.
Yeah. That's exactly
so you're not alone, You're not alone, David.
Well, and the worst thing is when you see, I've got kids, but when you see these small children, and on the front page of the papers yesterday, that 9-year-old girl that the doctors couldn't save, and the picture of her mum waiting outside the emergency room and saying, Putin, have a look at this sort of thing. There's just no reason for warfare these days. And I just...
Well, there is if you want to re-establish your empire.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
but it's one of those things. I don't want to get into the politics of the war. We all know it's wrong. We all know the reasons why we can't intervene with troops on the ground or, in the air, because it would be the start of the Third World War as we know it. But anything we can do, anything we can do to at least help these people, I think, I could either sit around doing nothing or I could try and do something. So I know, obviously, you've got your listeners, we've got our listeners on Deluxe, but, talk to your local councillors, talk to somebody and say, I want to help collect clothing. The Red Cross, on their website, have got all the links that you need. It's just, like you say, these people are 1,500 miles away. I felt the same.
You can get there in a van. There was some people in an ordinary street somewhere in London, I think, and they got 3 vans, just ordinary like plumbers' vans, shoved it full of clothes, and they're heading off to the Polish border.
Well, that's the other thing that's happening
Fantastic.
down here at the moment. I've been writing about this. It's our lead story actually in the paper.
Which paper would that be?
That'll
Then?
be the Looker newspaper,
Is that
looker.co.uk, if
the
you want to read it.
Looker?
Yeah, it's got very good
Okay.
articles in there occasionally by Russ Kane, actually.
Oh, yay.
But we've got an army surplus store down in Folkestone, and they are being inundated with people. We've got probably in my district, there's about 200 Ukrainians live down here. They are going off to war. They are getting British Army surplus stuff, putting yellow bandages around their arms to identify them as, Ukrainian forces. And these are people that are fighting for their country. And I felt like this once before. I was on a cruise ship down off the Greek islands about 10 years ago when we had the start of the refugee crisis there. And during the night, we had to pick up some people whose boat capsized, and we pulled some children's bodies out of the water there.
Oh,
and the next day, I nearly got the sack over this because some big fat American gentleman was moaning that we was 5
like
hours
Americans.
late into Corfu.
We like
We
Americans.
do like Americans. I've got a son in America, so I'm not going to say that. This guy was.
Did you say you got a son in it? Did you say you got a son? Did you say you got a son?
Yeah, in California. Yeah.
Ah, well, there we go. We both have.
But he was moaning that the ship was late into Corfu, and that evening we was there, or they were all on the deck having a champagne reception party, and I just thought, this is so wrong. This is 60 miles from where I am. We're getting all these Syrian and Albanian refugees drowning in the sea, and there's nothing I can do about it. So this time I thought, well, even if I attempt to do something, I'll be able to perhaps sleep a bit better at night.
Yeah. What did this fellow, you see, this is about humanity, isn't it, everybody? What did this fellow want to do? Just let the people drown? He wanted to watch them go under the waves so he could sip champagne and not be late for his holiday.
It's an international thing at sea that any ship at sea should go out, change its course to try and help somebody in need. So we was the nearest ship, and we detoured, and obviously we also had our rib boats that we did some searching because there were people in the water basically, and that had a real big effect on me for years. Even now, sometimes I wouldn't say I have flashbacks about it, but if people start talking about it, let me read
this and cheer you up. It's from Ramsey, who tells it like it is. He always does. Lovely to hear from David. Fully endorse his comments and admire his humanity. I feel we are the lucky generation here in the UK right now. Wow, I really don't. But anyway, go on. Most of us have not experienced war or seen such violence at first hand. Thank God. So many younger folk wondering if the world is heading towards World War III. Scary times for everyone. Some of the younger folk are, and some of the younger folk are just worrying that their Botox is wearing out and have they got enough lip fillers and all this garbage. That's a whole other issue, the way that we have been neutered in the West. This is from Paul Claridge. Good to see that the owner of the Evening Standard, Evgeny Lebedev, I hope I pronounced that correctly, sounds like Bill and Ben, doesn't it? Stood up to Putin in an open letter printed on the front page of the paper on Monday, which he begged him to stop the war. But we can only hope. Great, and let's just hope that Putin gets the Evening Standard every evening. That would be good. Yeah, I know it's just satire. Don't complain about it.
Did you see the thing on the telly last night where they had somebody, a BBC journalist, spoke to a member of the public in Russia? Who, let's face it, the Russians don't want war. This is a one-man campaign.
This is one of the things we've seen. I just want to say something else to everybody all over the world. We don't do politics here. I want it to be as much as we can a politic-free until it impacts our mental health. And you could say all politics do. You'd be right. And you are exhausted from watching it on the news and hearing it on the radio. I get that. And you come over to Men's Radio because you want to hear something else. But here's two blokes, grown-ups, and I hadn't spoken to David about this. I cried last night. David cried last night. I'm not ashamed to say it. And I was shocked at my reaction because I never do. Never. And David is too polite to tell you, has had jobs which most of us could not do. I'm going to be honest with you, pulling bodies out the Thames and doing all sorts of things that most of us would be throwing up over, and David's done it. So he's hardcore. All right, I'm saying that because you wouldn't say it yourself. And it's affected us. It's affected everybody. And what's really clear, it's not a nation outraged and wanting to go to war. I don't think they have any appetite for this whatsoever. But when you're running it like some sort of running a country like your own private mafia and running it on terror, which you do, who's going to stop it? And this is the big thing. Who's going to stop it? So it does affect our mental health. So if you think, no, Russ, you've gone off piste here, you're going away from why you and Howard set up Men's Radio Station, Howard being Howard Jameson, my co-founder. No, I think this goes right to the heart of what we're about being human, about looking at the world and seeing how it affects us, etc., etc. You get a different perspective on refugees, David, because you and I have talked about it a lot, because you're on the coast.
Yep.
And you see what never goes into the news.
Oh, we had 180 turn up yesterday, 9 boats. You won't hear that on the news.
No, because
we
report
the
narrative.
we report it because we see it.
It doesn't fit the narrative. And when I speak to David about business things or just to say hello, I am stunned because the media don't want you to know the sheer volume of refugees arriving. And that's just on David's little stretch of the coast down in Kent. So what was that yesterday? 9 boats arrived yesterday.
9 boats. I think it was 180 odd refugees.
And when they arrive, they literally get out the dinghy or whatever it is, and they walk up the beach.
Well, no, they tend to be intercepted now by either the border force cutters or the lifeboats. If it's Dungeness Lifeboat, which is the nearest large station to my house, they get taken to Lydd Airport, where they're processed in a hangar and then taken off to different, I don't want to use the word detention centres because it sounds like a prison camp, but processing centres. And around here, there's probably 15 hotels that are full up with migrants. There's an ex-army base as well, which holds up to 400 of them. And then from there, they get shipped to different places around the country. The other thing, in fairness...
I've got to jump in. Are they majority... Let's just face it. Let's be grown up here and ask the question that everyone's thinking. Are they mostly young men, or are they, as we see from Ukraine, women, babies, little children, except what is it?
I would say the majority of them are young men, although there's more and more women and children now. I've had this argument numerous times because down here we've got very polarised, either extreme right wing or very left wing. I like to think myself as slightly right of centre, but humanitarian is the way I like to describe myself. One of the comments is, "Oh, why do all these people have new phones when they turn up?" The phones that they're given, having paid probably £4,000 or £5,000 to have a dinghy ride, get taken off of them in France, and because they've got all the contacts with all the gang leaders, so they're given a phone with 1 or 2 numbers on them. One of the stories.
Explain that slightly slower because no one ever talks about that.
Okay, when they arrive at Calais, to what was formerly known as the jungle, they're sent there normally from other places in Europe with information as to who to contact. When they contact the gang leaders and hand over their life savings, the first thing that's done is their phones are confiscated. They're normally allowed to keep 1 or 2 phone numbers, but they confiscate them because they know that as soon as they land in the UK, the British authorities take their phones from them because they're looking for the gang, a paper trail, as it were.
Yeah, right.
One of the other things that I hear all the time as an editor of a newspaper as well, is like, where are all the women? This was pointed out to me in Syria, that one of ISIS's big things it used to do was raping and killing lots of women. And you've got several choices: join ISIS or run away. So a lot of the people that come over will tell you that their partners have been killed. Now, whether this is, I don't know how true that is or not, but we know for a fact that certainly in Syria, a lot of that goes on. It's not on the same scale of what Putin's trying to do at the moment, but I just think it's tragic that somebody, and some of these people have been educated in the UK. I was there one day when we had I think he was a dentist who was educated in Oxford. He was a highly intelligent man, but how bad must your life be? And the same for the people in Ukraine now, to think, do you know what? I'm going to leave everything I've got and risk running
Everything.
to a safe haven. You see, the one thing that has pleased me when I've been watching on TV is a lot of the people as they're fleeing are taking their dogs with them. And I know you as a dog owner
Yes, I
is
know.
like,
Well, I couldn't. Do you know what? My nightmare. If I had
oh,
to, I
I
know
would
this sounds
stay.
ridiculous. What,
If I
to
couldn't
leave
take the
Ebony
dog, I'd
behind? I
stay.
couldn't. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I know.
So it's
Right,
just,
let's
I
look at
just
some
think
of
the
these
whole thing's
comments.
very
Let's
sad.
look at some of these comments coming in from Veronica Curran up in Edinburgh. The level of people helping is amazing. Group of ladies that I follow are doing lots, but getting the lorries very difficult. England-based Edinburgh. Edinburgh is twinned with Kiev for 30 years. My son is 18, and seeing captured lads brings the horror. And of course, yet again, this is another televised war, isn't it? This is why it's so awful. This is back from Paul, going back to the what's going on. Paul, shame that Abramovich, who obviously owns Chelsea, as we know, is focusing on selling his assets before expressing his dismay and stretching a hand out to the refugees with his considerable wealth. You think? Back to Veronica up in Edinburgh. 110%. My mental health suffers seeing the levels of souls suffering, lost everything, and the terror to live through devastation. Ramsey's come up. We should talk about the root cause of refugees. Most are created by failed states due to war and external interference. Yemen, oh yeah, Ramsey, you're right here. Yemen is being bombed by Saudi Arabia with weapons from the West. More refugees are being created every day. If Putin invades Moldova, there'll be even more displaced persons. We've been saying this since man first threw the first rock in a cave. We need to end war and violence. Well, yeah, totally. I mean, couldn't agree with you more, but I don't want to get all John Lennon about it. You know,
It is the
we've
worry,
got to
isn't
live
it?
in the real. We've got to live in the real world, and how to stop it is the thing. It's no good, Gal Gadot and her pals singing my least favorite song ever. Imagine. It's nauseating. Sorry.
One of the things that
Nauseating.
shocked me last night was, obviously I'm still involved with the cruise ship industry, and in the summer months, one of the most popular cruises is the Baltic Cruises, where you go up
It's very
Denmark, up to
Beautiful.
Estonia and Riga, Latvia, and Sweden, Norway, and obviously all the cruise companies are having to stop these now. And some guy was on there saying, like, I was due to go on this cruise in June, and Carnival have sent me an email saying that it's going to be rerouted. I wanted to go to Estonia. I've never been there. Heard it's lovely. It is lovely. I've been there many, many times. But do you know what? If something isn't done about this, where's it going to stop? Estonia will be the next on his hit list. Then Latvia, even parts of Oslo and places like that are very, very worried. Finland, right up there next to,
The reason we are all so upset is complicated. One is the appalling visceral reaction that we as human beings sitting in our homes all over the world, New York right now, New York State, Kentucky, Edinburgh, London, you on the Kent coast, and we watch this horror unfolding. And we think, what can we, as concerned citizens of the world, and hopefully vaguely decent people, do about this? How can this happen? But you realize that when somebody is completely ruthless, completely ruthless, and you can't, we've all met that person. We've all met that belligerent person you can't have a rational conversation with, and you have to walk away. But what can you do? Because the moment anyone engages in a full way, that is the green go light for World War III. Something I never thought I would ever be discussing on Men's Radio Station. I thought we'd got past that. America don't want to know. You watch any of the American news programs and the American commentating programs, they don't want to know. The right are saying, told you this would happen. The right, or more conservatives, are saying, you stopped fracking, you idiots. You reneged on the pipeline deal, you idiots. And now we're beholden to Russia. We've got enough oil here in America. If it wasn't for the tree huggers, this is what they're saying. It's not what I'm saying. I have my own views. Doesn't matter right now. And the Americans, conservatives, are saying, serves you right. You stopped fracking. We could have had our oil. You turned around, Biden, and changed the pipeline deal. Could have had our, no. Now we're reliant on them. And then yesterday in the State of the Union addresses, I just want you to know, says Biden, that we have got reserves of da-da-da-da-da. That's 3 days. It sounded great. There's millions of barrels of oil, right? And this is what we've got released, and it's coming through from somewhere, so it doesn't really matter. It comes through B&Q as far as I care. It doesn't matter. It's 3 days worth. It's just flim-flam. Snake oil salesman. It's nothing. What are you going to do? You can't fight these people, or you can fight these people. You got to hope he's not bluffing. You got to hope the guy's not bluffing, that he's going to go nuclear. And then, David, I don't know if you saw it. You probably wouldn't have. I know that our very good friend Paul Claridge would have seen it when our genius mayor, Sadiq Khan, as I call him the nightmare, said, London is well prepared if it goes nuclear. I have never, ever heard such crap in my life. If we get half an inch, and I wrote, I see where you stand on this. You live in Kent, you get worse weather than I do, right? In London, right, we get half an inch of snow, everything stops, half an inch, everything stops. Asa Don Brown in New York State will be laughing at this point. So will Elizabeth Green. So will everyone in Kentucky. We get half an inch of snow, we stop. We had the train strike, the tube strike yesterday, right? London grinds to a halt. We can't even take a tube strike, let alone a missile strike. This is the talk of nonsense. We'd all be dead. End of. Nothing left.
Very quickly, I'll tell you something that was quite funny, but had a serious overtone. When I was working on the Thames at Tower Pier Lifeboat Station down by Tower Bridge, we had one of these all services emergency exercises. So it had things like fire, police, ambulance, special forces, and nobody knew what the exercise was going to be about until 6 o'clock on the Monday morning. And I'd just come on shift, and we got the for exercise purposes only. There's been a dirty bomb gone off in Westminster.
Oh dear God!
Yeah, what are you going to do?
My stomach's just knotted up.
So what are you going to do? So I took the 3 crew that were with me, got on the lifeboat, and headed downriver towards the Thames estuary as fast as I could go. And in the wash-up meeting, they said, "Why did you do that?" I said, "What did you want me to do? My job's to save lives. I could save those 3 people's lives, and I had about a 90-second window to come up with something. If I was to go into Westminster, we would be dead. We wouldn't save anyone." So afterwards, after I've been given a real dressing down by one of the police commanders, I said, "What should I have done then?" And then it turned out I did the right thing. So it was just
come back on Friday. David, tell you what, come back on Friday. Would you do that for me? You're busy on Friday. Come back on Friday because somebody very special is in the digital green room. Luckily, I had the whole digital green room redecorated. Phew. I know you've been waiting for her. I've been waiting for her. David, I'll see you Friday. That would be lovely.
You take care.
Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's only Anne.
Can't actually hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
Help.
Well, I think that's... Have you got your earphones in? Got your earphones in? We can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Oh, how weird, because we can hear you.
Use sign language.
We can hear you beautifully, Anne. Oh, what can we do? I've no idea why. Everything is there. It must be something on your end to unmute.
Yeah.
Something we can hear you. Don't we? Can
Okay,
hear you
let's see if this
perfectly.
is working.
We can
No,
hear
it
you.
ain't working.
We can
Help.
hear you magnificently. No, no. This is a.
I can't hear you.
I understand, but I can hear you. I can hear you, and we can all hear you.
I don't have headphones.
Then you should have speakers on your laptop. Here we go. She's going to send me a note. She's going to send me a note. Oh, this is so disappointing. We can hear everything. I love you, Russ. You're the greatest. You're the greatest. You've muted your speakers. 1 minute. I'm going to put a banner up. 1 minute. Hang on. Hang on. All right. 1 sec. 1 sec. Well, this is good. This is live radio, ladies and gentlemen. Hang on. All right.
Oh,
there we go. You see, this is how we communicate in the modern world. Now, the reason Anne is here, and we can hear her beautifully, there is something
How have I muted my PC speakers? That shouldn't have happened.
Don't know, darling, but something happened. But we can hear you. This is so slightly frustrating. When you say that's slightly frustrating.
That works. That's working.
Hey! Fantastic.
I just unplugged the speakers.
There we go. See, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm only clever about certain things. I'm an idiot about technology.
I don't believe that. I think you're clever about everything. Everyone's so excited that you're on.
I'm very excited.
Everybody loves you.
Oh, now, good. Oh, that's good.
No, they do. Everybody absolutely loves you. And I said you were coming on. I got so many. Oh, we love her. She's great. And all the documentaries. We've all watched the documentaries, which are absolutely riveting. Love those documentaries. Now, tell me something.
Mm-hmm.
Anne Hegarty, and thank you for your lovely messages this morning. Much appreciated.
That's okay.
This thing Wordle, just as an example.
Yeah.
I really, really clever people are going, here's Wordle. And I go, I have no idea what they do. Why do we love quizzes so much? What's that all about?
I must say, I am the one person in the UK that's not playing Wordle. Everybody else is.
I'm not. I don't understand it.
I think we just love to test ourselves, and we love to figure out what we know, and we love to show it off. And there's nothing better than being the one person on the team that actually got the answer right. So that's a lot of fun.
I don't even know how you play it, but people are endlessly, especially on Twitter, going, look at me. There's some really famous authors who I thought had other things to do, but no, they're all playing playing.
Oh yeah, I know. So many, virtually all my friends are posting their Wordle scores virtually every day, and I'm like, I really don't care, but they still keep doing it.
There's a wonderful Batman meme where he's smacking.
Oh, I know.
It's just. It just cracks me up. We as a nation, which is why you're here, we love quizzes, general knowledge quizzes. What is Sudoku, which I've never understood. I'll be absolutely honest, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, Sudoku is about maths. I don't do maths questions.
Do you not?
Not really.
What areas don't? This is a serious question. I'm not being facetious. What areas are you not strong in? Because the impression is, you've got a brain the size of Jupiter. So we all go, gosh, she's clever.
I'm not really crazy about sport. I try and keep on top of sport, but there is so much of it, and so much of it I just don't really care about. I'm quite interested in tennis, and that's about it. But you kind of have to be. I don't watch nearly as much TV as I should, but you sort of have to.
Missing nothing.
Yeah, you have to kind of. You have to, if you don't actually watch things, you at least have to read about the things that you haven't been watching and know a little bit about it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's research that says that, 78% of the population would say they like quizzing. And 1 in 5 of us does a quiz every day.
Does it help?
Yeah.
I mean, I like quizzes. I'll be honest, I absolutely love them. I have no idea why,
Mm.
but I just like to try and improve myself. It's not. I have no desire to beat other people. I never have. It's not how I'm made up.
Mm.
Do
I
you
want to
think?
beat people.
Oh, you do, but
Oh.
you're very competitive. You're a competitive person. I'm not. The only person I'm interested in beating is myself. But I'm not competitive at all.
But it's nice when you've got a question wrong half a dozen times, and then finally you get asked that question again, and this time you remember the answer and you get it right.
Yes,
Which is how quizzes get better.
I used to, when we had lives and they used to do charity quizzes, I used to love going to those. People get very passionate about it, don't they? Wow.
Oh, they do. Well, we are a competitive species.
They get real. I remember that I was back in the day. I used to do a lot of the hosting for these things. I wouldn't do it anymore, but I used to do it a lot. And people, God forbid, if I had the answer and said no, the answer is X, Y, Z, and they thought it was something else, they're aroused. I go, look, this is a charity. I'm not getting paid. I'm happy to help, but don't have a go at me. I don't make the questions up. They get really irate. I had to hide in the loo once. I'm serious. I did.
Quizzes just do get very passionate about the quizzing. They definitely do.
Do you think what I'd love to explore with you, especially because you've been so honest in the documentaries, etc. Do you think they're good for keeping us mentally agile and good for our mental health?
I think there might well be. I mean, on the downside, people can get very upset and stressed if they feel that they're not as good at quizzing as they want to be, or if they're afraid, that their quizzing prowess isn't what it was. And you probably then need to emphasize, work out what you're good at and focus on doing that and build up some self-esteem.
It's interesting. You're saying
invest all your self-esteem in quizzing.
I've never thought of that. Do you think
you probably shouldn't invest all your self-esteem in anything? Probably write down all the things that you think you're quite good at in all sorts of ways.
Do you do that? Do you sort of do a checklist of Anne Hegarty's good at this, but I'm rubbish at that?
Well, I'm lucky. I don't really tend to have mental health issues. I mean, autism isn't a mental health issue.
Precisely.
I tend to be. I'm quite dispassionate. I've learnt to be quite. I've had psychotherapy when I was younger, and I've sort of learnt how to just kind of not care about things that I used to care about terribly, and that's useful. Even if some people now think I'm downright callous. But there are some people that get very distressed about things they shouldn't,
Like for instance, what?
Well,
really
a
interesting
lot
areas.
of people have got themselves dreadfully anxious about COVID-19, which, I absolutely take seriously. I've had all my jabs, and my booster. I'll wear a mask when people ask me to. But over the last 2 years, I'm fortunate. I have a good immune system and I haven't caught it. But even people I've known who have caught it, yes, okay, you never know. But over the last 2 years, I haven't. And even people I know who have caught it, I did know someone who died very early on. And I know someone else that's recently lost his wife. And, obviously these are awful tragedies, but I just know so many people who either haven't had it or tested positive and never had any symptoms, or had it and got better. And there are some people, certainly sometimes in countries like New Zealand, where they basically haven't had it and they're just tying themselves in knots of terror.
Yes.
And they perhaps need to get a little bit of a sense of perspective.
It was, well, as I always say, it's much easier to control a population. They're much more malleable if they're scared.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
they listen to advice because they think everybody else knows what they're doing. And my view of life is possibly a bit like yours. I think no one knows what they're doing, and everybody makes everything up as they go along.
Yes, essentially. Everyone seems to get so angry with the Prime Minister. And I just sort of think, he's always been someone who kind of makes it up as he goes along, and he's doing his best in that respect. Quite apart from the
Anne,
whole question of, having parties when he shouldn't be
well,
having.
no,
But
that's
overall,
awful.
trying to cope with this situation, I think he's just been in exactly the same position everybody else is.
Well, the beauty of social media is that Noreen, the hairdresser from Stoke-on-Trent, is not only a medical expert.
Oh, yeah,
Suddenly, she's a world defense expert, obviously
absolutely.
for the
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Mm.
She's a financial expert with the budget,
Mm.
and we all have to listen to this because
Yeah.
the thing with COVID, we'd never had it before.
No, quite
It was
so.
unprecedented. How are you supposed to deal with something that's unprecedented? You've got to deal
Yeah,
with
I
it
mean,
day by day.
it is a SARS-related virus, and the countries that were used to SARS have generally understood how to get it under control faster. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And were you during the last 2 years? Did you kind of bounce through it? Because you seem like you're a very determined, focused
I was
person.
literally just the luckiest person in Britain. When
Wow.
lockdown came in, I was feeling very overworked.
Right.
I had money in the bank, I had food in the fridge, and I was just absolutely fine with, I'm someone who finds it very easy to just sit in a room by herself anyway. I had the
She'd be all
internet, I
right.
had books. I was like,
Yeah.
nobody can make me go anywhere. Nobody can make me do anything. Actually, this is fantastic. But I just kept trying to be aware that there were some people for whom it very much wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And I know, that I had friends whose mental health went seriously downhill. And, I hope they got the help they needed. I probably wasn't any help there. But,
That's very
I was
honest of you
there.
to say that. That's very
Well,
honest of you to say that, though, isn't it? Most people
sometimes,
would say,
if someone tweets something about how miserable they're feeling, I'll send them a personal message and, are you okay?
hmm.
And there's not a lot you can do except just be a good listener.
Do you add "hun" at the end of that? Do you go, "You okay, hun"? Because you've got to do
No, I
that.
just
Otherwise, it's
basically
not a
say,
real message.
I saw your tweet. Are you okay?
Yeah, that's
It's
very
essentially
nice of you. They must be, but seriously, if it's not someone that you know personally, or if it's a friend of yours, my mate Anne or whatever, but if it's someone who doesn't know, they'd be thrilled.
Well,
They'd be
I
thrilled.
don't tend to tweet people that I don't know.
Right.
Or message people that I don't know. But if someone is posting on Facebook, if another quizzer is saying,
Yeah.
I'm really struggling, then I might send them a personal message and sort of try and be a bit reassuring.
And but it means a lot. It means a heck of a lot.
I hope so.
It really, really does.
Hmm.
I know how busy you are today. I know that
Okay.
I know that your book's solid.
I am. But can I just say one thing that cheers everyone up is donuts. Can we talk about donuts?
Go ahead.
Thank
I
you.
love donuts. I try. Go
Good.
ahead.
Because Krispy Kreme donuts are
Krispy Kreme donuts.
launching a cryptograms challenge, and from
Get
tomorrow, if
out.
you go on their social media and look for it, or if you just search on #cryptograms, they're setting a puzzle and a quiz.
Yeah.
And a quiz question to sort of help you with the puzzle. And if you get the answer right, it's someone's name. And if you go to your local Krispy Kreme place and give them what you think is the name, and if it's right, you will get a free original glazed donut.
Those are my favorite. I got to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
And the other ones I can live, but the original glaze. Oh my god.
The ones with a hole in the middle.
I want one now.
Yes.
I blimmin' love them. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know you were going to go there, although I did see something in the notes. But I got to say, I'm not just saying it. I love them.
They are good, aren't they?
They are blooming good, to be honest with you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a thrill.
Okay.
It's been absolute thrill. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much. You too.
And thanks again. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Anne Hegarty. What more do you want out of life? Just great. A charming, interesting, multifaceted human being, and a very honest. MRS. Are we sponsored by Krispy Kreme donuts? I wonder if Phil would actually have them. Because then he could double his body. Then Phil could double his body weight. I got to be honest. I wasn't kidding. I do love them. I try not to eat anything like that, but I love them. If I see them, I've got to have them. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that Paul is summing up what so many of us think. Anne was lovely to listen to. She blooming well was. Absolute, such an interesting person. And I kept to my side of the bargain. Didn't go down anywhere I wasn't willing to go. Now, I'm just going to show this very quickly. Have I got time? Yeah, I got time. The first year of lockdown, I ran the Teams-based company quiz online. It was one way of keeping the team spirit during the first year of working from home. Damn good idea, Ramsey. It was always a fun thing and light relief from the stress of COVID. I love quizzes. I absolutely love. I love it. I find them really, really interesting and stuff like that. Well, gang, we're out of time. That's it. Thank you so much for joining me. David Wimble, unexpected guest, the fabulous Anne Hegarty. Always a pleasure and frankly an honor to have her on the show because we love her. And Phil might be back on Friday. Who knows with him? Probably buying a new cravat or something like that. I'll see you Friday, 12 o'clock. Please God, we're all still here. Until then, take care.